Hi, welcome to another Derek Does. Today, we're going to do these. Hi, welcome back again to Derek Does. Today, I'm going to do a show on fountain pens. Some of these are vintage, some of these are new, but they're fountain pens, and fountain pens on their whole is a vintage item. It's something that they came up with probably, what was that, the mid-1800s, and it kind of went out of phase in the 1950s with the invention of the ballpoint pen, which actually is probably a better pen overall. And there's a lot of great things about fountain pens that I love, and there's some things I don't love. Some of it you can kind of see on my finger there. Still a little blue because I was trying to make sure I had ink in all my pens to show you. Well, one of the little cartridges got a little inky on me. That's one of the things about fountain pens. Fountain pens are kind of like a mechanical watch. It's something that isn't particularly modern, but I just love it. I just love the process of a fountain pen. These are just a couple of fountain pens I have. I don't have very many of them. Every single one of these pens that I currently have here was under $20. So you can easily get into either a new fountain pen or an old vintage fountain pen for $20 or less. Now I do have one in here that's worth way more than $20, but I was at an estate sale. As you guys know, I love estate sales, and it was $5. I'll get to that one in a little bit. But first, let me talk about fountain pens, what they are, how they work, and kind of what to look for and what each one kind of does that might work for you. All right, I thought I'd start with this fountain pen. This is a Schaefers. Schaefers is a very popular brand of fountain pen. This is a newer fountain pen. I bought this, again, every single pen I'm going to show you I purchased for less than $20. I believe I got this one at an estate sale. This is just a Schaefers. Even today you could probably buy this pen for under $40. But this is the fountain pen. It's kind of a fancy one. It has this fancy chromey look to it. It's a business guy pen for the most part, with this gold accent and a little accent up here. Now a fountain pen, what makes them different from ballpoint pens is this. This is the fountain. And basically it's a nib, what they call a nib. And you can see there, it's like a little piece of metal that's bent, and then it comes up into a little point. And you can't really see it, but there's a cut on that cut. And so there's actually two pieces that come together. And what happens is the ink gets drawn up here through these little wings there, I guess, for the most part, these vents, ribs, or whatever you want to call them. The ink comes up, it comes up over that, underneath this metal, and then when you push down, it releases it, and you can draw. Or you can write or whatever you want to do. I draw. I don't write because I can't do cursive that well, and I don't sign contracts, so this is what I do. I buy these just for drawing cartoons. But that's what I do with it. And that's the reason I have them. That's why I love them. That's why I love fountain pens. They're just better than ballpoint pens to draw with. Because it makes you slow down just a little bit, and you can get the lines in, and it takes your time. It's relaxing. That's why I like these. So this Schaefer opens up, and these take a cartridge. As you can see right here, this is a cartridge that fits in there, and you can see how much ink's still left in there. And then when you run out of ink, you just put a new cartridge in. Now, there's a disadvantage and advantage to that. One, it's cleaner. You don't get this. Although you don't always get this. This was just simply being accidental. But when you buy a thing of cartridges, you only get like 12 cartridges, and they look like this. So these are actually for a pilot pen, which I'll show you in a minute. And inside, you get these little cartridges of the color that you want. So this is blue, and you can see it's blue. And you just pop those in, and they last a long time, but you still have to keep buying these little cartridges. And it's easier, I think, to actually just fill up a pen. It's a little messier, but it's easier. But this was, I think it's called a Prestige, possibly. I can't remember exactly. This is a Schaefers. We'll put that right there. This is a Pilot pen, Pilot from Japan. Similar pen, but you can see it's just not as showy. This pen's more for use. This pen's more for signing stuff and just looking nice and feeling bigger than this pen, I guess you might say. This pen is just, it's got a nice weight to it. This pen's really good for drawing, but it's a real fine. I have a real fine. You can buy these in different nibs. So this one, as you can see, I don't know if you can quite see that, but it says F for fine. So it's a real fine, thin line, which is great when you're drawing and you need a thin line. So what I do is I'll have a couple of these pens. I'll have some that are thin, some are fatter, that I use for when I'm drawing. And this one I'll show you. This takes that Pilot cartridge, and you can see it's a slightly different. It's tapered because it takes these cartridges. But unfortunately, when you do buy a new pen like this, it's going to only take those. You can't use anything else. And I'll put some links at the bottom for Amazon, where, like, I purchased this from Amazon, that you can pick up these pens for the most part. Some of the vintage pens you can't, but you can for the most part. This is a Schaefers. This is another one. I have a couple of these. These are old Schaefer USAs. This one needs a new cartridge. As you can see, this one's all out, but I ran out of cartridges to fill that up. So I'd have to purchase these because I was using more of the Pilot. These were what I first started with, because you could pick these up really cheap. And they're kind of cheap pens. You can just tell they're cheaper, they're lighter. This pen just has more, I mean, just looking at it, you can see it's just a better built pen, I think, overall. But it's still a great pen. These Schaefers, they're easy. They're kind of like crayons or something you would throw in there and you just pull one out when you need it. But this is the same type of thing. As you can see, this one doesn't have a fancy gold nib on it. It's just steel. I think was the Schaefer. Yeah, that one has a gold at the bottom, but then has steel at the top. So they're trying to make it look a little fancier. And then I'm going to get to some vintage pens. This one is a Parker. This is one of my earlier pens I picked up. I just love this design. I don't know if you can really see that in the light. It's got this really cool design. I have this in this color, and I also have it in a brown, which looks amazing. You can see these actually still do solid gold, not solid gold, like 14 karat or probably 10 karat gold plated nibs on them. And they still work fine. Now the advantage of this pen is this pen actually takes from an ink, not from a cartridge, but from a bottle. So you would take something like this. It would come, you would buy your canister of ink, and this was from Parker. You can see there's ink. This is not sure what year this one's from. I paid. Oh, it doesn't say. It does have a. It is more modern. I think I bought this one new. I don't have much ink in it anymore, but you have your ink in there, and it's just, so be careful with these because they will make a mess. But on a pen of this one, which is probably from the early 50s, late 40s, the back opens up, and inside is actually this goes up and down. I don't want to press it because I think if I do, ink's going to shoot out. But you put your ink, so you have your ink bottle opened up, you put this in there, you press this up and down, and it actually makes a suction, and it sucks up ink inside your canister. And if you hold this up to the light, you can see through it, and you can actually see how much ink's in there. And then you just close it up, and off you go. The big advantage of this one, it's just a cool looking pen. And this is what, like a normal pen. This isn't a businessman pen like this or anything. You have to realize ballpoint pens didn't exist, so everybody used a pen like this. If you were going to do anything in pen, this is what you would use a ballpoint pen. And you would have a canister of ink that you'd have to fill it up with. Now, these things of ink I'm showing you, like this is the black one, but they also come in red, brilliant red. They come in blue, and they come in a brown. This is a sienna. Now, these are all vintage that I've picked up from estate sales whenever I see them, because you have to realize this is $1.25. If you wanted to buy a brand new thing of ink, it might cost you $20. But right here is a big thing of ink. I probably paid $1 for at an estate sale. So if you ever see these, pick these up. Just be careful that there's ink still in them. Open them up and take a look, because they will dry out or something will happen. This little guy I picked up just because it's so neat. This is what they call a, I guess for a purse. This would be, or you could just like throw this in anything because it's so small. This one's a Schaefer. This is actually silver here. You can see it's tarnished. It opens up, and inside is a little fountain pen. Now you put those two together, and now you have a fountain pen that's almost the size of a big boy fountain pen. This one has, there we go. Again, I haven't used this one in a while, but you know, you can write and you can, I actually used this for work a couple times, but then I ran out of ink, and then I'm stuck in the middle of a meeting and I couldn't do anything because they don't hold that much ink. So these are pens not for every day. These are pens that are just kind of cool to have. And as you can see, the Parker, they put a little white dot on there. Here they have the blue dot, and I think each of those represent the amount of what the pen is worth. There's like different, if you get into the pens, it's like a whole nother, it's like wine. Don't get into the vintage pens going crazy. Just pick up a couple if you want a couple of them, that's fine. But just remember, it's like wine. It just goes further and further down a rabbit hole until you just have too many and too much knowledge and all that. But these are really cool. I love these. And then finally, and again, every single one of these pens I picked up here, I paid under $20 each for them, including this one. And if you're a pen guy, you know what that means. This is a Mont Blanc. This is with the big boy. This is the top of the line pen for the most part. So you can see how much fatter this is compared to this pen. I mean, it's just a behemoth. So let me put that together. You can just see the size difference between these two pens. But this pen, I believe, is like an $800, $900 pen. I was at an estate sale, and I swear this happened. I was going through, and I saw the white dot, and I know what the white dot is. And on the side of it, it said $5, because the guy who was running the estate sale didn't know what this was. I knew what this was. And I asked him, I said, is this $5? He goes, it's $5. So now I have this pen, and you can see this one's a fatter one. I have another one that I bought at a thrift store. I did not pay $20 for that one, but this one I paid $5 for. But that one is a fine. This one is what do they call this? Like a wide almost. This one just feels fantastic in your hand because it's fat. It's easy. It does write much better and smoother than these. I have to admit, you do get what you pay for, I guess, when it comes to fountain pens. And I'm sure this gold, I don't know everything about these pens, but I'm sure this gold here is way more fancy than that gold, and maybe this platinum, who knows. It was a very expensive pen. I'll probably do another video particularly just on these if you guys like fountain pen stuff, because I have three. That one's a ballpoint, two are fountain, that I'll show you, and I'll show you a couple other things that I got with them. But just to get, and oh, I'll show you, I should show you opening up these. Oh, and this one, I didn't show you opening up this one. So this one, when you open up the back here, it's actually got the same plunger, only this piece is actually built into this. It's not really a plunger that goes up and down like the other one. This one you actually have to pull. You draw it up, and then I think you put it in the ink, and then you push down, and then it makes a reverse suction that sucks it up. That's how this one works. And again, all these fountain pens, if you hold them up to the light and you look through, they'll have like little slots in there that you can see how much ink is in there. The same with this one. If you hold it up, you can actually see the little ink. Now this one, when you open it up, there we go. It was on there pretty tight. This one, I believe you unscrew it and then screw it in, and then as you screw it in, the ink comes in. And I can actually hear it making noise. Oh, yeah. Shouldn't have done that, but because now I got a little bit of ink right there. Always do it tipped up, I believe, never sideways. Again, it's just part of the ambiance of the fountain pen. Well, I hope that gives you a little insight into what a fountain pen is, kind of what to look for to make sure the pieces are there, at least when you're looking for fountain pens, and some of the things that may be important to you, maybe not be important to you, particularly with cleanliness, having ink-free hands and that sort of thing. It does happen, but again, that's part of having an old car. You're going to have some oil drips on the driveway, but you still get the cool car, and that's kind of what fountain pens are. They're the cool car that you just can't live without because they're so cool. I love them. I don't use them every day, like if I'm just like taking notes or anything like that, or figuring something. I use a ballpoint pen, but when I do drawing, I always use a fountain pen just because it just always looks better when you're doing that. It just everything's about it. I love it. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe. I'd like to thank everyone because we just hit 1,000, which was fantastic. And I just want to keep making cool videos about vintage guy stuff and girl stuff, but just stuff like this that is kind of a vintage vibe, at least. Some are vintage, actually. Some are newer. Some are fantastic deals, but don't expect to find those all the time. But you never know. You just never know. So thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next Derek Does.